Hi guys, it's me, Faye the Bookworm. Today we're doing two book reviews. We are going to do two books by Colleen Hoover. It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us. I'm going to give you a summary, my review on both, and then in like a week from now I'll be posting a video on the movie It Ends With Us. I went and saw it. So It Ends With Us, and It Starts With Us really, is the story of Lily Bloom from teenagehood to adulthood to motherhood and her romantic relationships. It Ends With Us starts at Lily's father's funeral, and we get the vibe that she really did not like him, and she does something at the funeral, I'm not going to spoil it, and then rushes home. And when she's at home, she goes on the roof of this building to get some air, and a mysterious guy comes on the roof, and they start talking, and they have an attraction, but his phone rings and he has to go. A couple months go by, and Lily is working on opening up her new flower shop, and a woman walks in and says, "Hey, I want to work here." And Lily says, "Great, I need the help," and hires her, and this woman's name is Alyssa. A couple more months go by, and the flower shop is almost done, but they really need some help with a couple things that they just can't pick up. You know, they're two women, and something's extremely heavy. They need some help, more like 4 people to pick up a couple of things. So Alyssa calls her husband and brother to come help them. And when they show up, who is it? It's the mysterious guy from the roof. We find out his name's Ryle, and Alyssa is his sister. They all start hanging out with each other, and Lily and Ryle start dating. And then a couple weeks go by, and her mom's coming in town. So they decide to go to dinner, and Ryle meets her mom. And while they're at dinner, they see Lily sees this waitress named Atlas, and that brings back all the memories of her childhood youth. Seeing him, it kind of like brings up these feelings, so she decides to go home and start reading her journals that she wrote when she was in high school. And through these journals, throughout the whole book, but I'm going to tell you it all, through these journals, we learn that Atlas was homeless. His mom kicked him out, and he had these scars all over his body from being abused, and Lily would feed him and let him shower in her house and stuff like that. And we learned that Lily, her dad used to be on her mom all the time, and Lily and Atlas's relationship ended very ugly, and Atlas moved to Boston, which is where they all are now. Alyssa is hanging out at Ryle's house a lot, and she moves in kind of quickly. And I didn't mention, but he is a neurosurgeon, and he has a huge surgery coming up, and they're having like a little date night at home, and he accidentally burns his hand bringing a tray out of the oven, and Lily laughs because it was silly, and he freaks out and smacks her right in the face. Now, he convinces her that this was just an accident, and Lily is kind of in denial, and she's like, yeah, you're right, it was just an accident. And then a couple days later, they just get over it, they just move past it, and it is Alyssa's birthday, maybe? I think it's some celebratory thing, and Alyssa really wants to try the new restaurant in town, and so they go, and Lily's there. She goes to the bathroom, and Atlas follows her into the bathroom. And Ryle comes in the bathroom to check on her and catches them together and like accuses her of cheating and yells at her and screams at her, but doesn't hit her this time. So then they go home and they forget about it. Now, Atlas actually visited Lily like the next day to like apologize for rushing in to the bathroom on her, and he just like has a gut feeling that she's not in a good relationship, so he puts his number into her phone, and she doesn't even think about it. She like forgets about it, and a couple more months pass, and Ryle uses Lily's phone for something and drops it, and the phone number pops out, and he is so angry, and they're fighting, and he runs out of the apartment and she follows him, and they make it to some stairs, and Ryle pushes Lily down the stairs. Now when she wakes up, he convinces her that it was an accident, that she tripped, that she's okay, he'll take care of her, gives her some stitches on her forehead, and she starts to feel sadness in her heart over all of this. You know, she's kind of in denial, she kind of knows what's going on, but Ryle is saying that he'll work on it, he'll get better, blah blah blah. So then a couple more months pass, and Alyssa, the sister, ends up having a baby. She gives birth, and that night they go home and they see in the newspaper that Lily's flower shop won an award, like number 4 out of 10 of the new businesses in Boston. And who is number 1? Atlas's restaurant. And Ryle starts reading the description, and it says that he named his restaurant as a devotion to his first love. And Ryle sees this and gets extremely jealous, and he attacks Lily. He hits her in the face and cuts her forehead and tries to SA her, and she runs out terrified and calls Atlas' number that she had memorized. Atlas takes her to the hospital and then takes her to his house for a couple days to lay low. Now, Ryle is searching for her but won't tell anybody why. He's like, oh, like, we just got in a fight or whatever. And he actually has to leave like in a couple days for this big, it's like an internship or training or a job opportunity or something like that. And he tells Lily, like, get some space, when I come back we'll work it out. Now when Lily was in the hospital, she found out she was pregnant, and she decides to keep it secret. So she goes back and to their apartment and tells Atlas, like, they can't talk anymore. She has to figure her life out now that she's pregnant. And after a while, Lily does tell Alyssa, the sister, what all happened, and the sister tells her, you know, like, you need to leave my brother, you need to take care of yourself and your baby. And she helps her put together a nursery. And then Ryle comes home from his internship thing early and finds out that Lily's pregnant, and they, like, kind of work together. Like, they're not together, but, like, he comes, builds the crib for her, and that's it. He goes stay somewhere else. And then we get to the birth of Lily's baby, and she gives birth to the baby, looks down at her daughter, and realizes that she doesn't want her daughter to go through the same childhood that she did. So she asks Ryle for a divorce. And then we fast forward a year later, and her daughter are playing at the park. She co-parents with Ryle, and Ryle gets her like once a week. And she's leaving the market, and she runs into Atlas, and she kind of says, like, hey, I'm ready to give us a chance. And that is the end of the first book. There's a couple things I don't like about this book. In the very beginning, when she's on the rooftop, this man comes in and starts beating up a chair, and then is attracted to him. And to me, like, if he is up there just beating up a chair, isn't that kind of a red flag? Like, I understand we all have our bad days, but, like, I don't know. You see the aggression in him. I know that doesn't mean, like, he's gonna be on you, but I don't know. I just see that as a red flag for a new relationship. Another thing I didn't like is the journal entries didn't quite feel like a teenager. They felt a little too grown up to me. I love them, I really did. I didn't talk like that as a teenager. Maybe they're trying to make her seem like an old soul, but I didn't care for that. Now, one thing I did love is Colleen Hoover did a great job of the dual timelines, the back and forth. And I think it's because it's journal entries, like, it just fit in perfectly, and there was no clunky transitioning, and you always knew what timeline you were in. It was written very well. Another thing I really liked was the character Alyssa, Ryle's sister, because she was so confident and strong-willed, and she was really a woman's woman. Like, she was a true friend to Lily. You know, some people choose their family over everything, but Alyssa was like, no, Ryle is in the wrong. One thing that I wish was different, and it ends with us, was I wish that Lily, when she went to the hospital at the end, would have done the more thorough testing that the nurses wanted, and I wish that she would have filed a police report. Now, I know that she was traumatized and wanted it over and wanted everything to be peaceful and go to as normal as she can, but if she really did those tests in that police report, maybe she could have got full custody of her daughter. Okay, now let's talk about It Starts With Us. It Starts With Us picks up in the exact same spot that It Ends With Us left off on. They're in the market, they say, oh, I'm ready to give a chance, and they trade phone numbers. Now, Lily is not really sure if she can make this work. You know, she's co-parenting with Ryle, and she is still holding on to a lot of fear around Ryle, and she is just not sure that she can handle the stress that having a relationship with Atlas would add on top of it. But still, they are drawn to each other, and they start FaceTiming a lot and texting a lot. And Lily even shares some of her journal entries to Atlas, and we kind of get Atlas's thoughts through those times, and we learn more about Atlas's story. They don't really have time for dating. They're both very busy. You know, Lily has her flower shop and a daughter that she's raising 6 out of the 7 days. Then Atlas has his restaurant, and he just opened a new restaurant. And at the beginning of this book, his restaurants are starting to get vandalized, spray painted, the windows broken in, and food stolen. Atlas decides that he's going to camp out to figure out like who this is. He doesn't want to call the police because they're stealing food, so they must be desperate and homeless like he was when he was a teenager. And then his mom shows up out of the blue and says, oh, you've got a brother and I'm looking for him because I'm going to go to jail for truancy. And Atlas is like, oh, it must be my brother then. And he's right, it is his brother. He finds him and he takes him home with him and has to fight for custody of him. But let's go back to Lily and Ryle. So Ryle, this whole time of co-parenting with Lily, is still kind of like being a bossy jerk sometimes. And he's also like coming on to Lily a lot, like, oh, why can't we be together? Oh, take me back. Let's go on a date. And she's saying no, but she's also not like really standing up for herself because she's still scared. Time goes by, and Atlas and Lily decide to go to a wedding together, and Lily gets a babysitter, Alyssa, the sister. Atlas spends the night, and the next morning, Atlas leaves early because he has to go to work, and Lily sleeps in, and she doesn't answer her phone because it died, and so she wakes up to pounding at the door, and it's Ryle freaking out because she didn't answer her phone, and he looks around her house and sees the 2 wine glasses and the clothes on the floor and loses it. He chokes Lily and screams in her face and then runs out and then sends her all these threatening messages. So Lily calls Atlas and asks if she can stay with him for a couple of days with her daughter to like lay low because she's terrified. Lily sends the text messages of proof to a lawyer. And then Lily and her daughter go to talk to Alyssa, the sister, about what to do. And Atlas goes to work at his restaurant, and guess who's there? Ryle. They get in a fist fight, but Atlas doesn't fight back. He tries to give Ryle advice on how to be a better man and a better dad and this and that. And this, you know, of course makes Ryle madder. Lily and Alyssa, the sister, decide that they are going to have an intervention for Ryle, and that's what they do. Ryle has more rules. He has to go to anger management and therapy, all kinds of stuff, which good for Lily. It's like she's finally standing up for herself and she has the help of Ryle's own family with her. So then we fast forward like 6 months, and Lily and Atlas move in together, and then we fast forward, and it's Lily and Atlas's wedding, and it's so cute. Now the review. The first book, It Ends With Us, was just Lily's narrative the whole time. In this book, we got Lily and Atlas's narrative, and I really enjoyed that. You know, we got to see more of Atlas's family and thoughts and backstory. When Ryle and Atlas had that confrontation at the restaurant, and Ryle like punched him and stuff, and Atlas was just all calm and said he like tried to give him advice to be a better man. I wanted to see Atlas kick Ryle's butt. Like, I really wanted Atlas to beat him up and then be nice to him and then give him the advice. But of course they had to make Atlas a good guy and not beat him up. But in my heart, I want somebody to beat the crap out of Ryle, put him in the hospital and see how he likes it. You know, but that's just me being vengeful. Another thing I didn't like is Atlas actually started writing a couple letters to Lily throughout the book about his feelings and thoughts, like to her journal and like just about her in general. And they just didn't really like sound like him to me. I don't know why. Like, you get the idea of the character in your head and the way they talk, and his letters didn't match up for me. And I did not like his wedding vows at all. In his wedding vows, he literally like brings up divorce and how people break up, and that even if they broke up, he would be so grateful that they like got the opportunity to be together. I just don't think wedding vows should have you guys breaking up in it. Like, you guys are starting something new. I don't know. I just didn't care for that. This book was a great end to this series. You got a lot of closure from it, a lot of heartwarming moments. Colleen originally wasn't going to write it, but she wrote it for the fans, and I'm glad for that, because you know what? Your fans like it. I really enjoyed It Ends With Us and Starts With Us. Definitely read the trigger warnings before you pick it up. I actually enjoyed It Ends With Us better. There's just more. It should be, because It Starts With Us was basically just a closure book for us. Yeah, I highly recommend to read them, but like I said, read the trigger warnings. And I guess if you're somebody who doesn't care for sad books, like one of my friends actually did not care for It Ends With Us at all, because the book is sadder, you know, and it does talk about domestic violence, and they just didn't want to read about that, and I can respect that, you know. I usually don't pick up books like that. Like, every once in a while I will, but most of the time I don't. But I did enjoy it, and I hope that you guys do too. But that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Bye.